D2 was actually named Ri'Tu in Japanese Wamachi literally, but her Japanese English name is Lito, which doesn't really make sense how Ri'Tu spelled out to Lito. But I'm glad they changed it for the EN version so that every time I think of Ri'Tu, I do not have to think of the Joker. D2 is your free arena thief. Although she comes from a time where she was released in Japan before Adele and Darion, so her performance might be a bit lower than those two. Blade of Rebellion is an RNG skill. If you high-roll it, which is a 4 or 5, then it's a pretty good skill because it acts itself as a nuke and also breaking shield in the progress. If you low-roll it, which is 2 or 3, then it's pretty average. Zetsu is Lito main nuke at 290 power. It's 30 power higher than most other normal DPS nuke at 260, but because it's 30 power higher, it also comes with a drawback. Because of its drawback, you cannot spam it constantly or else you're getting no BP for the rest of the battle. Oh, assuming that you boost max the skill and use it against an enemy in break, you probably cannot do it again next rotation since you cannot accumulate enough BP in time. 2 things to know about the D2 debuff. Number 1, you can actually still gain BP from other sources outside natural recovery, from either Tressa or from Alphen. Number 2, it also counts the turn where you do not gain the natural BP recovery after you boost a move, so if you boost Zetsu, you only actually lose 2 tons of BP instead of 3 tons of BP. D2 also has the exact same skill that other thieves have, like Viola and Hiko have, double wire burst, but for some reason the naming of this one is not double wire burst despite the fact that it's exactly the same as the other thief unit, so it's not double wire burst. Technically it is, but it's not. Whoa! This skill is used for shield breaking most of the time because of Ri'Tu low offensive magic stat. You really cannot deal any big damage with this, and the bonus that came with this is pretty pathetic because 1 turns mean that it is only triggered 1 time, then you only have that 1 turn to deal damage before it go away on the same turn you apply it. D2 plus passive mean that you put on some regen on D2, then you get yourself a nice damage boost. Although I wish it was like Zonta where it was an unconditional 30% up instead of conditional 20% up. At least her arena accessory give her passive regen, so it make it easier to proc this passive. D2's second passive is when you don't really care about her damage and you put in as a shield breaker dagger unit, so it help out the shield breaking a bit faster. D2 can deal quite a bit of damage with a 290 nuke, although despite the drawback, if you like Darion or Adele, then you can use D2 as your dagger DPS. Although the drawback of her really hurt her though. Honestly, I feel like Ri'Tu would have been fine without the restriction, but she is a unit that was made before power creep happened and before ultimate happened. Status in the end, D2 is the 3rd best dagger DPS. Adele beat D2 and Darion just outshined them both. In the land of the rising sun, for a dagger focused DPS, she is sure really bad at it, but she was the first unit to be released for that, so you cannot complain much about it. She still sucked though. But she do see a bit of usage though, for example like in the Job Tower, where you like good dagger DPS unit, you use Ri'Tu as your alternative, and if you have all the good dagger DPS unit, you use Ri'Tu as a shield breaker, cause the passive get her 1 additional hit to her attack, so it's 5 hit attack. You can also sometimes slot in Ri'Tu Zetsu nuke when the enemy's in break sometime, so let's say you're setting up a 2-turn break and you have Darion in front of your Ri'Tu. Darion go first, he boosts max, he used 6 hit dagger, but next turn he did not have enough BP to do enough damage again, so you send Darion to the back line and let Ri'Tu do the Zetsu nuke. After that, you send Darion back to the front line and send Ri'Tu to the back line so that Ri'Tu can rest from her BP recovery sickness, so when Ri'Tu has 3 BP again, you can do it again. Let's compare Ri'Tu and Adele. Honestly, as Ri'Tu did not have the drawback, then I would say she would be like a side grade to Adele. Adele has a constant stable 3 hit shield break, but Ri'Tu can gamble it and can go up to 5 hit shield break. Both of them has their own nuke, which Ri'Tu which is 290 power and Adele with 260 power that crit and 30% damage up when boost max. There isn't that much difference between a 290 power nuke and a 260 power nuke that crit, but Adele did not have the drawback where Ri'Tu does, so Adele win here. The good thing about Ri'Tu compared to most of the power creep unit in the game though is that she is free. So therefore, if you do not want to pull for Adele with Darion because you want to save Ruby for the certain handsome professor that Square Enix hasn't released yet for EN for some reason, then there's your free dagger unit.